Abe, good to talk to you, man. Good to see you. I'm excited to speak with you today for episode 3 of this series we're calling At the Helm. So thanks for joining.
Nice. Of course.
Um,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, so I'll quickly introduce yourself, but I would love for you to kind of walk me through your current role. But before we get there, just so everyone knows, so you're a senior product manager at ICPSR, and I'm going to hopefully not butcher this, Inter-University Consortium for Social and Political Research.
Yeah,
Oh, I got
close
political
enough.
and social backwards, didn't I?
Yeah. That's okay.
Okay.
It'll be on the test later, but you get a pass for now. We grade on a curve, so you're okay.
Okay. I haven't been to school in a while. So, speaking of school, so it's through the University of Michigan, and you
That's
yourself
right.
are in the Ann Arbor area.
That's right.
And then, just real quick, I thought it was fun. I was looking at the foundations that support you guys, and it reads like an NPR list at the end of a podcast. You know, the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates. So you guys got some big funding or support back here.
We do okay. We do okay.
Yeah.
I can give you a little background about what ICPSR does, how I got here, and all that, if that would be helpful. Kind of frame the story a little bit.
Yeah, please. I'm just going to stop talking and let you go through that.
So, hi everyone. My name is Abay Israel. I'm a product manager here at ICPSR at the University of Michigan. My story started a while back. I went to undergrad at Morehouse College, which is a small liberal arts college in Atlanta, and I studied economics and mathematics. From there, I did a stint in investment banking, and I realized that maybe I don't like money as much as I thought I did at that point, right? Uh, but I wanted something a little bit more close to the ground, around people who are being innovative and doing things that I was really passionate about. And I came to the University of Michigan as a data curator, a data manager. I moved up a little bit doing project management, and I ran the summer internship program for 10 years. And then from there, I got into product and product management and technology. When I was a curator, I like to consider myself, I don't know, smart but lazy, I guess is the way I would describe it.
Okay.
Where, and not lazy in the bad way, but like if I found a way to automate certain processes, instead of me spending hours each day doing that, I would probably spend a day figuring out a script to do it and then get the next project. So I wanted to keep coming up with innovative ways of automating and making things a little bit more efficient.
That is the
From
best
there,
type of that's the best type of employee to have on a team, by the way. So someone who just
that's what I think.
innovates and creates efficiencies.
Right. And in that way, that tool could then be used by other people so that they can
Yeah.
become more efficient. And instead of copying and pasting and moving things in that way, we have a tool that does it for us in a few seconds, and we're able to use our brain in other ways that I think are just more
Yeah.
effective. Right.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So that's how I got into kind of product at the beginning, right? And I spent about 5 years building my own startup company called Yable, and we created a mobile streaming service focused exclusively on Caribbean music. And when I was in undergrad and in grad school, because I went to University of Michigan as well, I didn't know that this was a career path that I could choose.
Hmm.
So I started my own company and I dealt with product there as well. Vision for the product, talking to users, engaging, understanding user needs, and converting those into technical requirements with our technical staff. And I fell in love with the whole idea of solving problems with creative solutions. That's just kind of in my DNA, apparently.
Right.
And
And real quickly, was Caribbean music being completely underrepresented in the space, and that's kind of why you chose to focus on it, or was it more of a passion for you? Like, how did that come about?
yeah, so yes and yes. So back in 2012, I think that's when things started to pick up with like the Spotify's and the Pandoras and etc. Caribbean music wasn't represented at all. Specifically where I'm from, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and we have this genre called soca music. But if you're not familiar with it, you don't know how to find it. If you're in the diaspora, you're kind of yearning for it and trying to connect with your home country, and
Mhm.
people struggle with that, myself included, right? And even now, they lump all Caribbean music into reggae or dancehall, right? No
Yeah.
offense to all those things, but each one has their own vibe, their own following, their own kind of passion, and there's a whole subculture that's connected to it. So we try to solve that problem by connecting the culture and the people who are away and disconnected from that culture to the people who are back home,
Hmm.
and it was great. And after I left Gable into to radio, I came back to the university kind of as full time, and I became a business analyst dealing with the same kind of problems, understanding user needs, converting those into technical requirements, etc. And I introduced the whole concept of product management to ICPSR at that time. And I worked with the leadership and we shifted the culture to understand, okay, this is a full-time job. This is something that companies should be doing. This moves us away from a waterfall structure into more agile approaches. And I
Right.
became the director of product management, I think, for 2 years. And then I had a kid, and I realized I don't have the time to be
Yeah,
doing
two
all this
full-time
stuff.
jobs all of a sudden.
2 full-time jobs. So I stepped down late last year, I think in September last year, and my replacement is awesome. Dharma Ackman, look her up, she's awesome. And then I decided I really, really like the hands-on kind of getting my hands dirty. And I
Right.
decided I want to be back in the product management space and not necessarily leading the team as I was before, simply because I didn't have the time.
Gotcha.
And that's where
Okay.
we are now. I'm product manager here. I'm
So
doing the work, right?
you mentioned the whole waterfall agile thing, and I want to get there really badly as a nerd. I'm so ready. But real quick, ICPSR, like, what's the mission? What's the point? What's the product itself that you guys are building, and what's the problem you're solving for?
Yeah, so ICPSR is the world's largest social science data archive, and that's a lot of words to say that we engage in the ingest and dissemination of research data, and we become that central point. Researchers from all around the world give us data, and we make sure it's safe for secondary analysis, and we provide access through either secure means, downloads, restricted application, enclave, that kind of thing. And we've been doing it for about 60 years.
Wow. Okay. So are you guys the preeminent online archive for all of this? You do all the storage, and essentially any members are going to be accessing your database for all of that?
That's correct. So a lot of government agencies come to us, like Bureau of Justice Statistics. If we're thinking about health and wellness data, they come to us. And yeah, we're like the central point where we disseminate this data from.
Gotcha. Okay. And how are people? I mean, like, I was reading up a little bit about it, so maybe you could educate me. But are members who have access to this, are they doing searching on your site or database with the intent of finding one specific piece of information, or are they already, like, maybe they don't know what they want to find and they're trying to build a story, and so they're looking through the archive?
Different types of users here, Sean, right? Like there's the people who are in academia, who that's their job, that's their bread and butter, and they are coming to ICPSR with an idea of, I want to study, I don't know, race and ethnicity in Trinidad and Tobago during the period of 1995 and 2001. They
Right.
know exactly what it is, and they know a researcher named John Smith III has studied this, and he's deposited that data with ICPSR. So they
Right.
come, type in those exact same things, and it pops out the data set. It may be public, it may be restricted, and they download and they go their way. And they'll be like, thank you so much. I appreciate your business, God, right? Like,
Right.
but there are other people who may not know what they're looking for. And they may start the search with, I have an idea or I have a concept. I know I want to study water in Flint, right? Or I want
Hmm.
to study, I don't know, give me like criminal justice reform that happened during the Trump era, right? Those types of things. They come in and they may start from engaging in a search term,
Hmm.
criminal justice reform Trump, right? But they also might take the other way, which is publications that deal directly with that. Let me see what other people are doing, and then look at the data sets that they've used to then frame my own research question. The
Right.
third type of users are non-academics at all. So it could be a reporter, it could be government agencies that are looking for something that feeds the story or the narrative that they're trying to do. And they may not need some of the statistical analyses that we provide or those types of skills. They just want
Right.
numbers that says, this person has done this during this time. Where's your source? And that's why they come to us as well.
So are you mapping out, I'm assuming you are, all these user paths or journeys, and then kind of figuring out like maybe educate me a little bit on your role responsibility in terms of the product itself, like with the UI
Yeah.
versus the back end, like what exactly are you touching and how does that
Oh,
play into the user journeys we just spoke about?
yeah, yeah. So, okay, so my role when I was a business analyst 5, 6 years ago, like I was essentially the only product manager at ICPSR. And that was
Right.
my job to understand that user journey, especially when it came to search. Search and find the content. What facets are they going to be using? How do they come to the page? What is their search strategy? What is the critical user journey to get to that download point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also like on the page itself, when they find this, we call it a study page, what elements are being displayed? What button do they choose? And that was super fun, right?
Yeah.
Because I dabbled into design. I used Balsamic. I interviewed quite a bit of people, like from our council members to our staff members to external users, people who've never heard it. And I started crafting these boxes and stories and then putting it in front of people to say, hey, what does this look like? And they're like, it would be nice if this is moved over there. Okay, done, right? What about
Yeah.
this, right? And you start building a narrative of we have all these different features and wants. How do we then convert that into something tangible that people can use? So we take it from like a low fidelity mockup drawing into maybe a semi high fidelity, which is HTML that people can click through, or like
Mm-hmm.
Adobe XD or something like that. And they start clicking through and you watch them and you're like, this button that we put here that says access restricted data, no one's clicking on it. And they've sent us messages like, how do I download? Maybe something is up there. And you
Yeah.
start reading in between the lines and coming up with the user stories and working with the developers on crafting what we think is important now, right? What are the must-have features? What are the nice-to-have features? And what can we put off or say no to for at least a few years, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
funny, what you're doing is not at all really that different from like what my agency will do on the marketing site. You're just doing it for the product, but it's funny to think of how the user might be the same type of user, or essentially the tools and the strategies are the same, or at least there's a lot of
Yeah.
overlap, right?
Yeah.
So, like for example, we do a lot of user testing, and with the user testing, you can have prompts where you're asking the users to navigate a certain way, and at certain stages, we ask them like, "What did you think of that experience?" and like, "What
Yeah.
frustrated you?" etc. Sometimes though, we'll structure a test to basically just start them somewhere and see where it goes, and then you're just kind of like
Yeah.
you said, you're noting down like what they did or didn't do. And I don't know if
Right.
you guys get this in products, but there's a concept of rage clicks in a lot of marketing sites where,
We don't. We
oh,
don't. Tell me.
so
Tell me.
good. So you can probably assume what it is, right? So it's like you think
Yeah. Yeah.
something's
Yeah.
clickable, but it's not, and we track how many times someone goes click, 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 like on an image, for example. And it's a
Right.
hint that like this should, it looks at least like a button. We should make it a button, or we should redesign this in a way that it's not confusing.
Oh, I'm
And
going to implement that for sure. I want it. I want a rage click
oh
button.
yeah, all that heat mapping and user testing data is so invaluable, I think. And
Yeah.
another, real quick, another little anecdote I had was when we thought on a certain brand that the button that said reset next to a filter was
Yeah.
clearly a reset button to reset your filters and clear them out. The way it was positioned looked like it was the search button. So on user testing videos, as they're
Mm,
saying out loud what they're doing, they would say, okay, I'm going to apply this filter, filter. Now I'm going to hit search. And they would click reset. And they would be
ooh.
confused because they didn't get the
Yeah.
search results. And it clearly
Yeah.
says reset. But just because of
Yeah.
the position, someone thought it was a search button. And there's those things
Absolutely.
that you just never realize unless you go through the exercise and find out all those little nuggets.
I agree. And it's not just the surveys that you do, right? Or it's not just watching them. It's all those things in combination, like the analytics behind it as well. Question, do you guys
Right.
do like personas and like user journey mapping and those kind of things too?
Oh,
We're in the
yes.
same job, Sean. We're in the same
We,
job.
we honestly are touching very similar day to day, like, tools and strategies. I feel like there's a lot of overlap in the Venn diagram.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. It's
But,
awesome. Good.
but see,
So
no,
we
but
can
so
talk
we're,
nerdy.
yeah, well, that's the point of this kind of conversation too, is because I
Right.
love sharing those little tips and strategies with people who are getting into this for the first time.
Yeah.
But for you, so you guys have this really big, I guess, like, would you call it a responsibility to have all of
Mm,
this data not only stored and accessible, but be able to be
yeah.
found? Like, do you feel that weight, I guess, behind some of it?
with great power comes great responsibility, Sean.
Teed
That
you up for that
is
one right there.
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal, right?
Right.
Granted, no one's dying tomorrow, but like taking data security as like a high priority is a big deal. And
Yeah.
as we get more types of sensitive data, and that's kind of one of the projects I'm working on now, it becomes even more important, right?
Hmm.
Because people want access to content. Data, as you would know, is becoming currency. And we are kind of both the the exchange and the the bank, right? Like the place that it's stored and the place that it's kind of shared.
Right.
And it is a big weight, but we're not doing it alone, right? We You mentioned some of the foundations, the Bill and Gates foundations, Ford Foundation. A lot of people are interested in making this data accessible and making it useful to people, but also doing it in a way that is equitable as well, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, so definitely that's a weight, but it's an opportunity for us to keep growing in the right direction.
Yeah. I could see the emphasis on equitable or fair in terms of like the data that's surfaced from searches and
That's right.
there's a lot of things at play that probably wouldn't be the first thing I think about when I come to a site like that, but probably all considerations once you get down to it.
That's right. Keep in
Yeah.
mind, we have tons of different partners, even Google. We work with Google. They have like
Yeah.
a Google data project that they're working on. And they've used some of our schema to kind of map how it should be done. So, things
Right.
like that. While we start some of the conversations, people take those ideas and run with it and create innovative stuff. And I just think it's cool, right? I think
Yeah.
we're changing the world. I think we're doing our little part to make everything better, and in being in product, you get to be on the ground level with that.
Right. Speaking of Google, do you guys have, I haven't checked this yet, but do you have the
Mhm.
site indexable by Google so that there's deep linking through to the study pages and things like that that can be found through Google?
We do. There's certain pages that we do the no script. I can't remember what the thing is that we don't want them to index certain
Yeah.
pages. For example, like we have an entire study term list, like through A through Z of the different types of subject terms that you can do. We don't want
Hmm.
people to necessarily find all those things, but the study
Right.
level information and the available data sets, yeah, all that is indexed. People can just search and find it.
Yeah. That makes sense. Um, okay, so I have a good concept of the platform and the mission, I guess. So, kind of tell
Yeah.
me through like more of the I guess finer details of day to day with things like you mentioned a couple tools, Balsamic and
Mhm.
Adobe XD or Figma maybe and
Yeah.
things like that. But like, what
Yeah.
are like some of the most common things open on your computer day to day? And like maybe if you list those, I have some questions for you about some favorite tips there.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, let me phrase it a little bit. ICPSR is a large organization doing incredible work. The project that I'm currently working on that I want everyone to look out for, it hasn't launched yet, it's coming in a few weeks,
Yeah.
is a social media archive. So it deals exclusively with social media data. Awesome. You
Wow.
should check it out. If you hit me up, probably DM on the side, I can show you a little secret that's coming. It is awesome. Our partners want to share some of this data in a way that is safe, and we don't expose people's confidential information, right? So
Right. That makes
we
sense.
have this social media data, people apply and they get access to it within a secure data enclave that you can't copy and paste out of it, right? So I'm framing my tools with respect to this current project that I'm working on.
Hmm.
In terms of tools, right? Must have Google Docs, because collaboration, you want to be able to write up some of these documentations as quickly as you can, get people to
Right.
give feedback, put comments, those kind of things. Second, Slack. Whew, all day, every day I'm on
Do
Slack.
you okay,
And
Slack, do you find it distracting or do you find it productive? Or both?
um, both. So ICPSR is kind of like a family. We have different Slack channels
Yeah.
where we have all the product managers on one channel. If you're on a project, that's on a different channel. But there's other things like dogs of ICPSR, right? Or gamers or whatever it is that's there.
We have a
And
gamers one
I would,
too.
I would kind of like peek into it to be like, you know, long I haven't played a video game, right? To kind of just see. But I think it's essential because my job and the role that I have, I want to be in constant communication with my stakeholders.
Yeah.
And that's the quickest and easiest way, faster than email by far, right?
Oh, totally agree. If you can get it across in a quick message, there's just you're saving minutes per message for every time you got to open Outlook or whatever you use and craft the email, wait
That's
for a
right.
response, etc. Although I know
That's
that
right.
there's like I don't know if you guys have this, but we have certain rules where it's like after certain hours you switch over to email because you don't necessarily want to be pinging someone at 6
Mm,
p.m., 7 p.m. with a message. Some of us have the ability to filter that out and some don't, and so you feel the need to, especially if it's coming from like a manager or supervisor or something like that.
yeah.
That's
We
we
had to
found that to be
set
pretty critical.
we set those boundaries earlier in our life cycle of implementing Jira, like
Yeah,
sorry, not Jira, Slack, because like that's one of the trade-offs from working from home, right? Like you're
yeah,
always connected all the time, and you felt like you have to respond right away. Um, in our product management group, we said, okay, some of the standards are, after 5:30 on a Friday, don't expect someone to respond. You can put a message, but just don't expect them to respond
right,
right away.
right.
And our director, Maggie, she comes up with ideas all the time and she's just like jotting them down quickly in. And we had to make it clear to the entire organization, like just because she says it, don't doesn't mean drop everything that you're doing to do these things. It's not a
Yeah.
mandate, right?
Sometimes you just need to get it out of your head.
Right. And I think it works fine, right?
Right.
But yeah, so Slack definitely communication. We want to make sure that's there. Email is fine. Google Chat is fine. Um, project management, I hinted at it. Jira, we use that all the time. I've tried Asana and Trello, but Jira, I think, connects to what the developers are doing, and I'm able to have user stories, acceptance criteria, comments, all those in one bucket.
Hmm.
And then we can have things on the release tree and kind of connected. This ticket is past this stage and it goes to this next level, which is then ready for deployment. So Jira for sure.
Right.
Analytics, I would say Google Analytics. I used to use all the time. Now I don't have my new product out yet, so I haven't really looked at that yet. Um,
Do you have a
uh,
GA4 migration plan coming up or anything?
it is coming. It is coming. Oh, you want the contract?
No, I don't. No, I mean, we've already helped actually a few brands with it, but there's a lot of kicking the can going down the road right now
Yeah,
with a few brands, and it makes sense, right? Because you kind of there's a little bit of a new approach to how you're interpreting the data, but also the continuity of
yeah.
the data as well. So, but it's
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, we don't have to get into the GA4.
Yeah, I mean, we have Google Analytics on most of our websites now, right? And we have
Yeah,
a standard way of looking at it and generating reports for our clients.
right,
So
right,
so it's there. It's just that's not our primary focus right now because we're planning to launch first, right?
right.
And when we launch, chances are we're going to iterate and say, okay, we didn't get this right the first time, right? So we
Right.
don't want to put a bunch of tags and stuff just yet.
Okay.
Other tools. So I mentioned Balsamic, but I'm just a fan of Adobe, the Adobe suite. So I dabble in Photoshop, Illustrator, but Adobe XD is really creative.
So you're using
Um,
that for all your
in
wireframing, I'm assuming, and
Yeah, Adobe XD and
yeah,
Balsamic. Those are my two go-to. I've used things like Figma. Marvel was another one. Oof.
yeah, we use that
Uh,
both those. We use Figma quite a bit too.
Figma is nice. But again, I'm used to the workflow in Adobe. That's all. Right?
Yeah. One thing I like about
Yeah.
Adobe more is the comments. I feel like it's a little bit better of a flow when you're scrolling through a few different designs or frames and you can kind of see the
Yeah.
comments like pinning to it. But Figma, I just love the ability to kind of. Sometimes I'm guilty of this where I just scroll all over the place and I'm showing things here and there. And it's more of a brain mapping exercise, but I love Figma for that.
Speaking of brain mapping, whiteboarding, I use Miro. Whew, that's my go-to solution for like when you have ideas and you have a team and you want to brainstorm, put ideas there. We do even some of our planning and sprints in Miro, right? We would have
Mhm.
a, a discovery sprint, which defines who our users are, user mapping, um, empathy maps, those kind of things in Miro. And we have these different slides that you can just move around and zoom in, right?
Yeah.
Then we do our design phase in Miro. We copy and paste some of the designs, put it in there. And we have sometimes stakeholders, like 20 or 40 stakeholders watching the same Miro board moving around at the same time.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so Miro I would say is up there, and
I'll
then
get
for like
real quick.
retrospectives. Oh yeah,
Miro shout out. Are you familiar with the Miro verse?
I am not familiar with the Miroverse. What's that?
Oh, go look. Okay, well, maybe soon you will be, because I know someone who's dedicating their time to that. Her name's Eleanor. She's great. She's focused on the
Ooh,
UGC side of Miro right now. So in Miro, you can basically create whatever you create. You can share with the community, and you can kind of
yeah,
Miro can share that with anyone basically that's searching for a certain template or a certain type of board that's already been created. And the Miroverse is becoming like kind of their I don't want to spoil it, but it's more so like the hub, if you will, for like all the user generated content. And there's going to be some like gamification in there and some really exciting
what?
things. So if you've got some good templates, I would share them there. I think it's a great place.
What? That actually sounds really exciting. Put me
Yeah,
in touch. I want to play around with some toys.
I will.
I think that kind of covers it. Oh, we do retrospectives after each sprint too. A sprint is just a time box 2 week period where we use to do the
Yep,
development work, and
yep.
we use Jamboard, which is kind of like a small offshoot of Google. It's
Hmm.
free, and people can just put cards in, and we found it really effective.
Okay, so this is kind of a question I don't know if you were ready for, but out of all the ones you listed right now, your allocated time that you're spending in them probably isn't ideally what you would love to be spending more time in. If
Yeah.
you had to pick one of the ones you just listed out, where do you feel like your time's most efficient or more effective?
Jesus. I'll choose Jira. I would say
Really?
Jira
Okay.
because that's where we have decisions being documented and actions being taken to develop the ask.
Yeah,
It was close between Jira and Slack, but I would say Jira is my
that's a hey,
go-to.
it's a great answer. It's a great answer. So, okay,
Final answer. Final answer.
I wanted to ask you. Thank you for sharing the tools. So now I
Yeah.
kind of have like a sense of like how you're getting it done and what you're trying to accomplish. But ultimately, everyone has stakeholders to please, and in your
Yeah.
case, you might have stakeholders who are aware of what you guys are trying to do and they're technical, but you also probably have some, I'm assuming, non-technical stakeholders, if we'll call them that, right?
That's right.
So as a senior product manager, one thing I always sometimes I bear witness to is how a PM is kind of communicating not only the sprints and the epics, but also like what they're trying to accomplish or what some of the roadblocks or milestones coming up are, things like that. So, do you
Yeah.
have any tips or I guess like ways that you manage those conversations when you're talking to someone who might be more non-technical?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, and you would probably notice this, Sean, I get really excited and I talk quickly, right? I'm just like really passionate about the work that we're doing.
Yeah.
The first advice was when talking to a non-technical stakeholder is slow down. Slow down and don't make any assumptions that they know what you're talking about right off the bat.
Yeah.
Um, so if you have any assumptions or biases, list those out immediately. You can even repeat yourself. Say, this is what we're here to meet about. These are the things that I'm thinking, and I would like to gain X at the end of this conversation. The From that point, I think the strategy is to try to build trust with the non-technical folk and the technical folk, and even the product manager, who's kind of like that go-between,
Hmm.
because once you have that trust, they actually listen to you more, right? And they sit forward, right? And they're like, okay, this
Which you did,
what you're
by the way.
saying
You
makes
sat
sense.
forward a little bit and got me engaged. I saw
I
that.
know.
You probably didn't even notice you did it.
I didn't. I didn't. Um, I would say if you're talking with non-technical folks, try to speak often with them because they may not get it the first time,
Hmm.
but then listen more, right? Because they may have questions, but not they may not feel comfortable to ask those questions because they don't want to necessarily be considered, ignorant on
Right.
I don't know what schema means, right? And they're in a group of 20, 30 people, they're not going to ask that question, but then they get lost because it's a core piece of what we're talking about.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Okay. And I think finally, if all else fails, not all else fails, use it as part of your tool set. draw pictures and use analogies to say this is like this. And this is what I mean when I say I need a drop down box that explains the use case. And the drop down box is like giving someone a shortcut to fill out details. And they're like, okay, I get it. Get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great, by the way. The stakeholders sometimes, maybe you've experienced this, will throw curveballs your way, or maybe they'll throw out more of a business challenge or hurdle. Have there been any of those you've come across, and like how have you gotten around those? I'm sure you have.
All day, every day, Sean. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's part of the job, right? Like,
Right.
they may have specific needs from the business perspective, and you should never ignore those needs, right? You should listen first. Like I said, listen, listen, listen. Um, when they're talking about their business needs, your job as a product manager is to define or help define the what. What are you asking for? And go past the I want this, I want this now, I want this because I'm spending money. Go past that point. Get that out of your head. If
Yeah.
they're saying I want something, you define that what, and then you get to the why, right? Why do you want this business thing or this objective that you're talking about? What is um, the business value that's being achieved when you do X? And once you get to that why, you can ask them 3 times, 5 times, whatever. You get more rich data. And then if it becomes they're asking why and the answers is I don't know, they sometimes turn around and be like, you know what, I don't really need it that much. I can do this other thing. Or someone else
Hmm.
can jump in and be like, oh, you need that too. I need that as well. And we are doing X to do it, but I wish we had something else to do it. And then someone else jumps in, and all of a sudden it becomes, instead of a tense situation, it becomes a brainstorming, and then everyone leaves the conversation excited,
That's a great point.
thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, we can do this, but we didn't necessarily do this the original way you said it, but we have a better way that's doing it, and everyone comes out a winner, right?
Right.
Like that's how you want to handle some of these conversations. And sometimes you might want to handle it with just saying, that's a great idea, but we're not going to do this at this time because we're also focused on X, and we're doing X and Y because of these things, and
Yeah.
we can put it on our in our parking lot or icebox or whatever you said, and we'll come back to this during the next meeting. And if it stays in the parking lot for a year, the understanding or agreement is it's gone, right? Like it's not that
Exactly.
important.
It got towed from the parking lot. It's
It got towed, right? And people, they understand that, right? And
You're
they
right.
understand like something that I need now, and I've been asking for it the first day, and then a month from now it's not really important. Then
Yeah.
we got away from spending resources on things that we don't need.
Yeah, that's a great point about the speaking up or having others speak up about. Oh, we've been trying to solve that problem also, but we do it this way, or we've got this handy sheet, or it's always something that lives on a local machine or something like that. And and
Yeah,
it's like to you probably that's like a eureka moment of like I can just knock out all these things at once by solving this one problem, and
that's right.
yeah, we've come across that sometimes, and I myself end up am guilty of being the guy that does something sometimes on the local machine with a sheet or whatever because it's just familiar. You know how I can
Yeah,
solve this right now in Excel versus trying to go through some other prompt. But I do
that's right.
think that it's important to surface those and create that, I guess, environment where people feel safe
Yeah,
to share, no matter how silly it may sound, how you've been trying to deal with some problems or what those problems are. Because it could be a quick
yep,
fix you know how to solve right now, right? You just got to train them on
right.
something.
Yep.
But it's really
Openness and
important to
trust,
hear that.
John. Openness and trust, and the ability
Yeah,
to be able to present your ideas in a way that people aren't going to ridicule you about.
exactly. Yeah,
And you know how many problems can be solved just by those two things,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So, do you guys have like a score? I'm assuming you do some in Jira. Maybe it's the scoring model of how important something is and like what job to be done or problem it's trying to solve and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we tried a bunch of different things. Nothing has stuck to the point where I'm like, yes, absolutely, we want to do this. We've
Hmm.
done like the priority matrix, high impact, high effort, try to find that balance between
Hmm.
the different metrics. We've done things like Bayesian models. That wasn't really effective because people just got lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
We've done like critical user journey elements versus non-critical nice to have. What I found worked really well is um, must have, nice to haves, could have, don't need. Those kind of simple words. And
Simple
then
ones, yeah.
simple with then level of effort that's required in terms of sizing.
Yeah.
And we've done things like story points, 1, 5, 3, Fibonacci sequences, whatever. But you can use ant, mushroom, hippo, whatever, right? Like whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. T-shirt sizes, big, large, medium, small, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
we do that too.
extra medium, whatever. But it's like you want to speak where everyone else is, and they want to feel comfortable saying, "Ah, that's an extra medium," right? And
Right.
they know what it means. And because this is an extra medium, that makes this one a large. But the large has high impact. We need to do the large. So we're going to hold off on the extra medium for now, and people get consensus around it. One really, really important piece, and I learned this the hard way, it is not the the design or the tool that you use to build your roadmap. That doesn't matter. It is getting alignment from your stakeholders to believe that a roadmap is achievable. That is
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone is on board and they be like, yes, this is the roadmap. I have my input on it. I see where my thing is and I know what's coming next. I think that's the crucial step. Not how pretty it is, not what tool you're going to be using, not how many elements of it. That does not matter.
Yeah.
Get alignment around that roadmap and that vision and make sure that is visible. Like everyone sees it in the organization and they believe it.
Oh yeah. Or print it. Actually put it on the wall and have it in front of you,
I,
you know.
I have my roadmap tattoo, right?
It's a black light one. You have to get
Right. Right, 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 right,
that's
right,
funny.
right. But every
That's such a
time I
good
have to change it out to exit
yeah.
out. Yeah,
That's such a good point though. I mean, like having the tool really like you the only time you really think about it is when it's getting in the way. When it's
yeah,
not doing what it's supposed to do and it's making it a little harder to get to build the roadmap or to do what you need to do. But other times it should just be in the background. It should be the thing that's enabling you to make the meat of the actual roadmap. So I love that.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. But you say background, I say make it visible, but don't let it like be a burden on you. Like it should never be a burden. It should be
That's a
like, yeah, we're
that's a good
working towards this vision here, right?
right.
As opposed to every day where we build a roadmap, it looks pretty and fancy, and then tomorrow we have to update it because it doesn't make sense anymore, or we miss
Yeah,
out
exactly.
on timelines, and that happens so many times
Yeah.
in my earlier stage of my career, and it's like I wish I learned that earlier.
Okay, so you could not have teed up a better segue here. So as we're getting to the end of this, I just want to kind of hear
Mm.
you've been here for a lot, like what 10+ years at the ICPSR, is that right?
Yeah, man,
Through the
close to
internship and everything.
15. Woo,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I
So,
know.
not trying to dox your age here, but I am trying to ask what what like in your career so far and like in a lot of those like over the years you've learned like if someone's coming into like let's say your first role
Yeah,
at ICPSR now, what would be
yeah.
like the those strategies or those tips that or the wisdom that you would impart on someone like that? Sometimes it takes the form of like, look, a lot of this is going to come your way, but it's really important for you to make sure you focus on blank, blank, and blank. That kind of a statement.
Yeah.
Like, what's some of that wisdom you would give to a new product, someone joining the product team, essentially?
Yeah, someone who's new to the product management space in general and joining the ICPSR team or any product management team.
Yeah.
My first thing is this is both a technical role, or understanding technology and framing it, but also a people role. There's certain skill sets and traits that you want to continue to build up, and I'll kind of list them as they come to my head. I would start with like um, resilience, the ability to take the hits, fail fast, and don't let it like detract you from what you're trying to do. Learn
Mm-hmm.
from it and grow. Be able to tell people no and why it's no, but also like celebrate your failures because that's an opportunity to grow. The second thing I would suggest is if you can build in yourself that curiosity, for understanding the why, understanding who your users are and why they want to achieve X, understanding how technology works and how you can use it to better suit your value proposition, and be hungry to 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 just gain knowledge. In a world that we're living in now, machine learning, AI, that's becoming like the hot new topic. Chat GPT is my
Yeah.
thing. Like I love it, right? But um, don't be afraid to say that you don't know what it is, but try to learn more because it's going to play a role in your career whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Um, and then kind of like tying those two elements together, the resiliency and the the curiosity, I would say it's empathy for the people around you, whether it's your stakeholders, your developers, designers, friends, your users, whatever, right? You want to put yourself in their shoes so that you can better um, communicate with them, and you can build products that they want, or build things that they would say, wow, this person gets me, right?
Hmm.
um, in terms of on the other side of it, practical side, if you're having a meeting, bring food, because if it's in person, people want food, right? um, keep your meetings short and to the point, respect people's time.
Yeah.
You don't need a meeting if it can be done through email, right?
Yeah.
um, um, be good friends with your DevOps team because they usually don't get recognized, and they are a crucial part of any kind of like tech environment.
That should be
And
at the
they know
top
where
of your
this.
list. That's
Oh
a
my
big one.
God, dude! And they know where all the skeletons are, right? So it's
Yeah.
like be good friends with them, right? Build those relationships, not just with them. I'm just using them because I know. Like I wish I knew that at the beginning,
A lot of
right?
unsung heroes on that team.
A lot of
Yeah.
unsung heroes for sure. And then if you're new to product management, I would say look for a mentor, someone who's been through all the things that you are thinking about going through, and take the advice that that person gives you to heart and try to do better the next time.
Yeah. That's a great way to end right there. Maybe you're the future mentor to somebody here, because
Hit me up.
no, I mean, I'm learning a lot already. I love this kind of conversation. So, um,
Awesome. Awesome.
real quick before we end, what's your favorite Chat GPT thing so far that you've played with?
Ooh.
Use case.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So I'll tell you, I actually introduced my other product managers to ChatGPT. We were doing kind of like coming up with our values for the organization, right? Values for what our team is known for, our value statement, right? And they had a bunch of ideas, and they're tossing around ideas, brainstorming. And I'm like, guys, we can just plug this into ChatGPT and it'll come up with a sentence. They're like, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, okay, you guys go ahead. Click, 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 click. I copied and pasted it into Miro, into Miro. And they were like, you just came up with this? I was like, no, ChatGPT did. And they're like, what is going on? I say, I, for one, welcome our AI overlords because,
Yeah.
they, this is the future, right? But in like, that's product management stuff. In terms of fun stuff, I wish I knew more coding, like more like Java or Python or even like Swift. I wish I did it in undergrad. I didn't, but
Hmm.
now that's my go-to thing. Like I would say, okay, I want to build this element on this page. I don't necessarily want to hire a developer to do it, but if I'm playing around with it, I would say ChatGPT, give me the HTML code with CSS and some JavaScript that does my page that does X, Y, and Z, right? Boop,
Yeah.
it pops it out, and then I can respond
Yeah.
say, well, I want to move this out in this page, and it just gives me it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome,
It's insane.
awesome.
You have to be careful because you obviously have to like kind of review what it spit out. But we
Yeah,
did this on a very smaller scale with in Search Console, just like GA. If you're trying to filter to a certain, let's say, group of pages or content group or something like that, and you don't have any sort of
yeah,
like URL structure set up a certain way, you usually have to do a regex filter, and it's all these like
yeah,
long commands. And now with
yeah.
ChatGPT, you could be like, I make a regex for, and you just plug it the list in, and then it does it, and you're like, thank you, and you plug it right over into GSC. It's a lifesaver. It's incredible. So,
I know. You remember when we had to learn this stuff? Remember when we had to learn SQL and regex? And like,
We're going back to the very
this is
beginning of
ridiculous.
smart but lazy. It all comes full circle.
That's right. I mean, it is the case that like people are afraid of this, right? They're afraid of
Yeah.
where their jobs are going to go. But we're at a crossroads now that the way how we view work, the way how we view how computers can engage with us, like now is the time to get in and understand it because
Hmm.
it's only going to get smarter. And and for me, like I mentioned, the social media archive that we're building. Now, if anyone is listening to this and you're part of ChatGPT or any AI tool, can I get your data real quick? Like it's like
I
it'll
can
be
see this
safe,
living in
right?
ICPSR right here. What people are putting into Chat GPT. Honestly, that's
Think about it, right?
yeah.
Because like the next generation of researchers are going to be looking at this stuff and be like, this is where it started from, and this is where it is now, and they
Hmm.
can then use, oh, people are looking for these types of elements. This is a business model for someone, right? Or this is a tool, an innovative tool that we can create, or this is a whole different AI that can be built, like something on top of ChatGPT that says homework X, Python
Yeah.
answers. Well, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um,
No, what you're saying.
coding, design, like I use Midjourney as well. That's for like graphics and stuff like that.
Hmm.
All of those things are just going to get smarter, and I am here for it, dude. Like I am here to the point where if I can get, I already told my director like if anything dealing with AI or making things smarter and better for users, don't even
Yeah.
ask. Just assume that I'm in.
There you go. I'm gonna end on that high note. Honestly, I know we can keep going. We probably will when I turn off the record here, but it's
Yeah.
been a pleasure, Ave. Thank you so much for doing this and letting
Thanks
us
for
get a
having me.
little peek into your world. It's so fascinating. So thank you.
Thank you for having me and thanks for doing this. I think this is fun and I look forward to all the other interviews that you're going to be doing.